years until I got married. I love church so much. It was the days when we'd go to church in the morning and then we'd have Sunday schools in the afternoon. Now I went to 2 Sunday schools that I run between. My brother was Sunday school teacher at one and I'd run to the next. And then I found a mission hall and that was my 3rd one on Sunday afternoon. Now I used to think that I went for me, but I think it was because I was one of 8 children and Mum and Dad just wanted a quiet afternoon. But it worked in my favour because all I can ever remember is feeling secure in my faith, in Jesus. And I used to go to camps at Old Rome. I don't know if you know Old Rome, it's over on the East Coast. It was always raining, it was always windy, but there were mission camps that I went to. And that solidified my faith, if you will. And I've just sung in my heart ever since. They were very big on choruses with the mission people. And they used to teach us about bottle brush plants that they saw when they were missionaries abroad, and it was all very new to me. As for churches, I was talking in a cafe on Tuesday, I think it was, when we were here to a lady who was telling me that this was her 3rd church, and I just thought how lucky she was, because this is actually my 9th church. With Dennis being in the fire brigade, we moved around quite a lot after I was 18. While we've been in these churches, we've always tried to lead an active role in that we've done youth groups, junior church. Dennis is a local preacher, or was, now a worship leader. We've been circuit reps, we've done disciple courses with Hillary, been on the church council, we've been heavily involved in prayer ministry. It's something that's called soaking prayer. We may introduce it over here at some point. We've also been involved with healing services. We're both big believers that God places you where He wants you, whether you want to be there or not. Now, 3 years ago, He decided that I should go back to work. Not only work, I should go and work 13-hour nights for 3 nights a week and do 37 hours over 3 nights, working with the homeless people. It's not something I ever imagined I would do, but I've totally loved it for the last 3 years. It's coming to an end, along with Chloe actually, in December, and we're both moving on. I won't be working, but I will still be volunteering a bit closer to home, and I'll be volunteering at Addington at the homeless shelter that they set up as a pop-up just for the 3 months. God sends you where He wants you. When we were at the homeless shelter, it was a good 8 months that we didn't go to a church because I was working Sunday nights. This is the 2nd time we've not been to church. This is a beautiful building, but whereas I'm concerned, church isn't a building, it's the people in the building, people outside the building who are living the faith and living the testimonies. And that's what we've tried to do with my job with the homeless. In 6 years, we ran the boys rugby team. As well as a coach, I was a manager, and we've been blessed that those children have grown up from the age of 10 to 16, and they would come back. They're all now fine young men, 35, makes me feel old, but we kept them off the streets, and they've been thankful, and they've thanked us that they haven't gone down the road of drugs, etc. Now, we were only able to do this with God's help. God's led us here because not going to church for the 8 months when we finally went back to church and I just walked my nights, I wasn't happy at the church I was at. I couldn't settle. I wasn't getting fed. We'd been in a community where we had our own fellowship and we had our own chaplain, so we had our own devotions at night. Something into my head come Hillary's name and the triangle on Facebook. We know Hillary from last time she was up here. And so we said, right, let's just go and see what the triangle's like. I have never walked into a church since I was in my childhood and felt such a warmth of friendship, fellowship and welcome. And I thank you for that, and we both do. I'm sure we're going to love being here, taking a slightly backward role, I hope. I'm normally the one at the back anyway, pushing Dennis forward. He's the one who talks a lot. I will warn you of that now. And that's about all I've got to say. Just thank you for welcome. And for me, it's like coming home again to a home church, and that's something I've missed.